Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I am your host, Evan Abrams, and I'm joined, as always, by the great Brandon Anderson for some best bets for NFL Week 6. We will get to those bets shortly, and of course, Brandon's commentary on my notes and trends here coming up. But let's get into a few things heading into the week that I thought, might be a nice table setter. So underdogs, 9-5 straight up and against the spread last week. Dogs had not gone 9-5 straight up or better in a single week since 2017. The last time we saw three underdogs of over a touchdown win outright, which of course happened last week in the chaos. Favorites actually went 10-5-1 ATS the next week. So we will see how that goes in terms of the bounce back because it had gone one way, then we flipped. So we will see there. Now, the other one I thought that was kind of interesting because I thought it gives the league a bit of a balance beam, which is through 5 weeks, the NFC is 18-9 against the spread in its 27 games when facing the AFC. The NFC is 500 ATS or better in all 5 weeks of the season so far. And that 18-9 ATS mark is the second best for either conference through 5 weeks in the wildcard era. We actually have 6 matchups in that area this week, so I thought it was a little interesting. I know the quarterback topic, a bunch of different reasons or excuses why. Brandon, either of those kind of hit you?
Yeah, the NFC one is interesting. It's not something that I would typically notice or pay attention to, but it kind of checks out with even back before the season where it's like, okay, man, I got like 12 NFC teams. How do I pick only 7 for the playoffs? And over in the AFC, it's like, I got like 5. I got to find 2 more over here. And the problem even further is that we talked about like in the different rankings podcasts, the AFC is the quarterbacks, the NFC has the everything else. Okay, well, what happens when the quarterbacks get hurt? Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. What happens when that happens? Well, we get what's happening right now. The AFC trailing far behind, and it's just like, man, who's going to claim these spots over there? And I think, too, maybe they'll catch up. Maybe teams like Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, some of these teams that were overlooked, will we start to kind of recalibrate on them if they continue to do this thing? I was pleased. I quick skimmed through my picks today. My top pick on the slate this week is, in fact, NFC versus AFC, and I'm on the NFC side. So I was like, okay, we got one there. And yeah, I wondered also the underdog stat. It makes sense. There's so many trends that tell you after the underdog got the big win, and now everyone's high on their own stuff, and the market's high on the team, now you go back the other way. So it does make sense after a huge underdog week, carnage in survivor leagues everywhere. This seems like maybe kind of a restabilizing week, and we'll see how it goes. By the time folks listen to this, we'll already have kind of our first test of it. Thursday night, Philly and the Giants. That's one that I had on the look ahead. I was very confident. The Eagles are getting some injuries on the line. We'll see how that holds up. And it's kind of our first test of, okay, big favorite long shot matchup here. Who comes out on top, and will that kind of set the tone for a new week?
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look ahead line, you were asking for the Eagles to come off a loss. That would be the best scenario, and kind of perfect in that scenario. So you got what you wanted there. I also feel like this is worth noting. AFC North 4-11 against the spread versus non-division this year, and the NFC North doing the same thing they've been doing the last few years, but this number is ridiculous. Last 3 years versus non-division, 66-39 against the spread. Just ridiculous numbers. All right, so before we move on, don't forget to sign up for Action Pro for real-time pick alerts from experts like Brandon Anderson, myself, our entire Action Network team. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team. So go to actionnetwork.com/pro, get $20 off the annual price with the promo code POD20, POD20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro. Use promo code POD20, POD20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right, time for the main course. Let's get to the NFL Week 6 best bets. If you want to tail some of these bets, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description, or go to actionnetwork.com/bet now. All right, Brandon, Seattle and Jacksonville, both off very interesting performances nonetheless. I think both better than we thought they would be at this point in the season, even if we liked Jacksonville. And I'll talk to you about some Sam Darnold numbers after you're done. But what are you doing in this matchup of up and comers? Let's call it.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks here, and you're right. This is a fun one. Like, who would have thought coming into this week a month ago, this would be one of the games we'd circle, coming into a big NFL week. But it looks like a really big and pretty fun matchup here. I like the Seahawks. This one's moving around as we record. Seahawks have been an underdog. They're starting to become a favorite at some books. So I take them at the +1.5. If you get a +1, if you need to take the money line, it's probably going to come out in the wash there, but obviously shop around for the best line. So this sort of fits really both of the trends we just talked about at the top. Here we got NFC versus AFC. My childhood heart still hears AFC, right? Seahawks used to be in the AFC back in the day, but they're NFC now. So favor to the NFC as things have gone so far, and a great spot to buy low on a team that lost last week and to fade the team coming off the big emotional home win, Jacksonville, Monday night, short rest after a big win. They got the win. The Chiefs were the better team in that game. We didn't get to talk about it because it's Monday and not Sunday, but the Chiefs had 64% success rate offensively in that game. That is the 100th percentile. You do not want your defense to give up a successful play 2 out of every 3. That's not great. Obviously, the Jaguars won by 3. They needed the stumbling, bumbling Chris Berman into the end zone touchdown at the end, but they also needed, lest we forget, a pick 6 at the goal line. That was effectively a 14-point swing. That's 7 off the board Chiefs, 7 on the board Jacksonville. You need 14 there, and you need the late score to win by 3. I think probably that means we're going to be a little bit overinflated on you. Seattle was my pick last week. They lost, but their offense was incredible against Tampa Bay. They made a few mistakes. Tampa Bay was great. Seattle's defense got a bunch of injuries and couldn't really hold up. But I still think here in this matchup, Seattle is the better team. I think they clearly should be the favorite. I think by Sunday they will be at all books. They're second in DVOA so far in the season. Not surprising some of the parts. They lead in special teams. That's usual for Seattle. They're 7th defensively. That's not surprising. 2nd against the run. What's shocking is number 3 on offense and number 1 passing offense. You said you're going to have some stats on Sam Darnold. My guy's been lighting it up. And Jackson Smith and Jigba looks like a true wide receiver 1. And we get a bunch of trades this week in the NFL. Kind of weird. But I kind of think Greg Newsome, the guy that Jacksonville just got from the Browns, is he covering JSN? Is that what's happening here? Like, we just got you on Wednesday, and now you're covering the star receiver over here? I don't know about that. Neither defense was good last week. Seattle's pass defense got shredded. They dropped from number 2 in DVOA to league average, like a huge drop there. But for all the good things Jacksonville is doing, Trevor Lawrence in the passing game is not really it. So I don't know that they're built to hurt this defense there, and Seattle should be a little bit healthier. Jacksonville's defense, we talked about it. They got shredded by the Chiefs. Trayvon Walker, if he's out again, is a huge miss for them. Their pressure rate dropped to 24% last week, down from 34% on the season. I do like Jacksonville. I just like Seattle better in this matchup. A stat for you here: if Seattle remains an underdog in weeks 6 and 7, underdogs of a touchdown or less against elite ATS teams. So that's an 80% to 99% ATS cover rate. Those underdogs are 41, 16, and 1 ATS, 72% cover rate. And this is, if healthy, a luck ranking side. So Seattle +1.5, or again, best number that you can find out there. I do prefer the 1.5 or the 1 if you can get it. Both of these coaches tend to be aggressive, and you maybe get a go for 2 for the win or something. And a little escalator for you on this one, not on the game, but on a future. I like Seattle to win the division, 5-1 in the NFC West. The Niners are 4-1, but a lot of injuries. Evan, you and I have talked a lot about them. They're underdogs on the road this week. I don't know a pick for that game, but these teams, those two and the Rams, project all about equal at like 10.5 wins. Seattle at FTN is about 26% to win the division. That would put them shorter than +300. We're getting +500 here on what looks like a top 10 offense, probably a top 5 defense once healthy, number 1 special teams, top 5 coaching staff. Right now, I can't even believe it. Seattle is my number 4 power rated team. I don't know how we got here, but give me Seattle against Jacksonville and give me Seattle +500 in the division.
Yeah, you're not going to get any argument from me not taking San Francisco to win the NFC West if you've heard me the past few months. So completely good there. The Sam Darnold stat, adjusted EPA per play, success rate, completion percentage over expected. He is the leader in all three categories through 5 weeks. So
Wow.
other than not even really believing what I'm telling you, which I'm telling you it's true, feels ridiculous. But also last 2 seasons, he's 14-8-1 against the spread, covering numbers, playing well, two completely different teams, two really good head coaches. I think is something that I look at when I look at Minnesota and Seattle. Definitely helping them along. I'm gonna be from the sideline in this one because I just feel like it's two unexpected good teams. I thought Jacksonville would be pretty good. I didn't think Seattle would be this good. So I feel like I have to kind of wait and see. You didn't mention it, but Seattle's been absolutely nails on the road. 9-1 straight up, 6-3-1 against the spread under McDonald. I don't really understand what's going on at home, but on the road, they're ridiculous. All right, let's go to your next one here. AFC North. Everybody but the Steelers has been playing pretty bad, and then the Steelers, to me, just kind of mediocre. So Cleveland, Pittsburgh, what's the way here?
Yeah, so Steelers was our hot read on Sunday night, -4.5. I'm just reinforcing it. I'm doubling down. I'm still Steelers here. It's -5.5 now at DraftKings, our sponsor. I'm just telling you, I still like it. There's been a lot of talk about this game this week. It's pushing, I think, towards 6. 5 is kind of joining toward the key numbers now, but you want to grab it before 6 if you can. So Steelers, anything south of 6 is the pick. Again, this is the single biggest schedule advantage spot on the calendar this season. And quite frankly, maybe one of the biggest schedule advantage spots I've ever seen on the NFL calendar. The Browns are coming from London on Sunday. We just watched them play Sunday morning. NFL teams are given the option to take a bye week after traveling overseas. They declined. So here we go from London to Pittsburgh from Detroit before that. This is a 3-week road trip with no Cleveland in between. And you got Dillon Gabriel making his first true road start here in Pittsburgh. And on the flip side of it, not only do you have that negative spot for Cleveland, Pittsburgh's last game was in London too. It just, well, I guess Dublin, but Pittsburgh played overseas, but then had a bye week. They haven't played since that game. And for this team, an older roster that had a bunch of injuries, a really important early bye week for them. This is a spot that I would have bet blind before this season. You just can't quantify the impact of that schedule spot. Pittsburgh, look at the injury report. Alex Highsmith, he's practicing again. Okay, great. The Browns don't have tackles. So TJ Watt getting Alex Highsmith back, that'd be a big deal. Joey Porter, full practice. Jalen Warren, full practice. It was a late scratch in the last game they played. Getting those guys back and getting this defense a little more right after a pretty rough start opening month, if we're being honest. I think that's a big deal at home against Dillon Gabriel. Mike Tomlin has covered 6 of 7 games off the bye week, won all 7 outright. And in this rivalry, the home team dominates. 7 straight home team wins by 9 points a game in the rivalry. Home teams typically are a good first half play after the bye week. So that's good for Pittsburgh. Front foot, you're playing Pittsburgh ball. And now you got Dillon Gabriel tired on the road. Effectively kind of a short week because you got the international stuff as well. And now you're on the back foot as well. Stefanski, 34% cover rate in division games. And then if you still believe the Aaron Rodgers trends, they all like this one. Rodgers at home. Rodgers as a favorite. 1-score favorite. Off a bye week. Division favorite. Like, Rodgers is good, it turns out. So, of course, the trends like Aaron Rodgers. But just a lot of stuff to like about Pittsburgh here. I think this is a good survivor pick for this week. Pittsburgh is not a team that you're going to feel great about using much again this season. The schedule gets a lot tougher going forward. It's a huge, huge schedule advantage spot. So, again, Steelers, hot read 4.5. Here we are at 5.5. Grab it if you can before it gets to 6.
Yeah, I really feel like it's going to be 6 because I keep asking myself, why isn't it higher? Like, why isn't the spread higher at this point? I think at least one of the answers would be the total. Like,
Yes,
how much higher can you go with a 38.5 that was 37.5? When I was handicapping this game, the thing that I looked at most was Aaron Rodgers this season, a full tenth of a second quicker than the second shortest quarterback in terms of time to throw. That man is getting it out super quickly, even quicker than last year. And I think that's really, really good against a Cleveland defense that they're going to get after you. Really good from that side of the ball. Offensively, again, trying to protect Pittsburgh, very difficult. But I think Rodgers has a really nice advantage there that should help Pittsburgh. Also, you mentioned it. Pittsburgh won and covered 5 straight off the bye since 2020, including this one was the one I like. In early season buys, Tomlin's been really good as well. So I like Pittsburgh. I'm with you. All right, keep going here. You were going to go, speaking of London, Jets, Broncos. This one is, I mean, the trends kind of bring you into one direction, but I don't really like the trends in this one. I don't think it tells the full story. I think it's an on-the-field matchup more. So what are you doing with Jets Broncos?
Yeah, I'm curious, once I'm done with my pick, which side you think the trends are pointing. I think I'm fading the trends here, and I'm going to go with the Jets. Look, I've been looking for a while for a spot to fade Denver. Now coming off of Philadelphia win, even better because I think they're extra inflated, but I was looking for a spot before that. And frankly, this sounds like crazy talk. I've been looking for a spot to invest in the Jets. I don't think the Jets, despite being the last winless team, I don't think they are the worst team in the league. I honestly don't think they're close to the worst team in the league. So typically, I'm all about back the international favorite. You know, there are a lot of trends. We know about Bo Nix. He's basically like unbeatable as a favorite. Justin Fields as an underdog. All the trends are popping to say, don't do this, Brandon. Don't do it. Take Denver. But 7.5, especially Jets plus 7.5, it's just too many points for me here. The Jets continue to be top 10 success rate offense and defense. People this week, I'm seeing in podcasts and articles, Aaron Glenn, he's failing, is not doing great so far. What? The Jets are top 10 success offense and defense. Like, things are going pretty well. Tanner Engstrand, the offense, has been creative. Given the talent they have, you have one receiver and no quarterback, and they're moving the ball. They're going on these long drives. I'm admittedly less enthusiastic about the defense. The worst pass DVOA defense in the league. That's not supposed to be the case with this team, but the Broncos really only have one good receiver, Sutton, and I think Sauce Gardner, the one good part about the Jets' pass defense, can hopefully keep him in check. Of course, the main problem with the Jets is they're the anti-Jaguars this season, right? It's turnovers. 8 turnovers so far. Not horrible, but certainly not great. 0 turnovers forced. And if you look at just fumbles, they have fumbled 7 times. That's too many. That's tied for the most. But they've only recovered 2 of 7. Typically, fumbles are basically 50-50. And the luck evens out over time. They've recovered well under 50-50. And on defense, they forced 5. They've recovered 0 because they have no turnovers so far. So 12 fumbles in Jets games this season. They've recovered 2. The chance of you recovering 2 or less out of 12, if it's truly 50-50, is under 2%. That's how unlucky the Jets have been. And surprise, surprise, I pull up the luck rankings that we do at our site, Nick Giffen and crew. The Jets are number 32 with a bullet. They're by far the least lucky team so far. It's not just the fumble stuff, but it's a solid team. I'm not telling you the Jets are good. I'm not going to buy a Jets playoff ticket. I just think that they're a bit underrated because of the luck stuff. I do think, too, that they can run on Denver a little bit. Denver's linebackers are not great right now. I think the second level is beatable, and the Jets have shown they can do some of these 8, 10, 12 play drives and kind of grind out the football. You know, another delightful Sunday morning of just these long 3 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards type drives. I don't really know that Bo Nix, the way he's playing right now, can punish this Jets pass defense, even if it's pretty beatable. So I'm just going with the Jets here. One trend that does go in my favor, winless teams from week 4 forward against not undefeated winning teams. 66, 40, and 3 ATS. So 62% cover rate there. Basically, what that trend tells you is what you'd think. By the time we get a month into the season, if you're 0 something, you're of course going to have some value because nobody wants to back that team. 7.5 is the key here. I want the 7.5. I don't mind the 7, but I want the hook. I would only make Denver on a neutral this much of a favorite against 2 teams, and neither of them is the Jets. And let's be a hero. Let's have some fun on Sunday morning. How about a nibble on the money line? Plus 320. Take us home, Jets. Justin Fields, go do the thing. He's pretty good against man coverage, so it might work out.
Yeah, I would say the winless trend would probably be the one you would point to when you talk about the Jets. Like, it's got to happen at some point. Also, the fact their defense hasn't forced a turnover all year, something's got to give at that point. I'll also say this: Jets averaging 19 points per game at 0-5. I mean, just looking at this season, teams to score 19 plus are winning 64% of games. Like, that seems ridiculous. And then I'll give you one more. Jets have scored 112 points on offense and are 0-5. Only the 2020 Falcons have scored more points with no wins through 5 weeks. So again, don't look up the 2020 Falcons who finished 4-12. Just believe that it's a little bit unlucky that they're at this point. And I'll say this as well: you're going to need every single damn point. So 7.5, if it gets to, like, wherever it goes, get as many points as you can because it's still the Jets. All right, let's keep rolling here. Sunday Night Football. You are looking at Detroit and Kansas City. This one is just going to be special. So yeah. I'm curious how you're looking at this game, because I think it's the same way I would look at it, because the sides scare me.
The sides scare me. I really wanted Lions here. I looked at it hard early in the week. You get the Chiefs short week off a letdown loss. There's the obvious, like, well, they can't fall to 2-4. It's Mahomes and the Chiefs. Of course, I want to fade that. To me, the Lions set up the way that we have dreamed about the Ravens and the Chiefs over the years. Run the ball, smash mouth, control the clock, don't make mistakes. And Detroit actually does it, unlike Baltimore, who does other crap when they play them. The problem is, well, I'll get to the problem with Detroit in a second. So I'm not going to take the side. I'll explain why. I'm going to do the mean thing here, and I'm going to rain on our Sunday night parade, and I'll go with the under 53. And that one is rising, so we'll talk about that in a second. So Detroit, the Lions start out 0-1. They get dominated by the Packers. I'm feeling great because I was all team Ben Johnson's gone. The Lions are not going to be good this year. They're going to be average. And now since then, 4-0, and they're cruising. And they're suddenly like the Super Bowl favorite for some people. But who have you beat? Detroit. You beat the Bears. All right, well, L for me. You beat the Ravens, but what's that mean anymore? Like, the Ravens having been this badly exposed since then, is that really as good as it looked? And then you beat Joe Flacco's old team and Joe Flacco's new team. Congratulations. Like, I don't really know that we've learned a ton. And what really worries me with Detroit is the injuries. Taylor Decker, left tackle. Their line is not playing as well as it has in previous years. We knew that they lost some guys. The young guys haven't been quite as good as hoped. And then at corner, Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed are out. Both of their two starting corners are missing. And so I think how this game sets up and why I like the under is we're going to get, again, long drives, I think, from both teams. I think Detroit will move the ball and get some points. I think the Chiefs will. Look, we know these teams are going to score, but could we get to halftime and it's like, oh man, we only have like 6 possessions so far, where we get long running drives. And with the Chiefs, their runs have been better in the last couple of weeks, and the short passing game is back. And that's kind of their version of running anyway. Not really with the explosives yet from Kansas City, but they are moving the ball. I don't mind you moving the ball. Move the ball all you want. Settle for a field goal every now and then. And if you're chewing up the clock, I think we can still go under here. And really, this is a trends play all the way for me. So here are the trends I'm looking at. Since 2017, totals over 52 that rose more than a point, 59% to the under. Jared Goff, when the total is 51 or higher, 61% to the under. That's most profitable active quarterback. Mahomes home under, 62%. Primetime unders outside of Thursday, 61% since 2019. And it looks windy here also. Windy unders the last 4 years, 61%. And then just a little chef's kiss at the end. We got ourselves a luck under here as well. So it's going to be uncomfortable. We want this to be a fun game. We know they can score either team on any play, but under 53. And I mentioned the number. This was 48.5 Sunday morning. That is a huge amount of movement from Sunday morning to the night, and it's just been slowly building since then. I'm going to go ahead and bet the 53. It could go up from here. 54 is kind of a key number. So if you think it gets to 54.5, you gain value by waiting. but we're kind of in no man's land now. 54, 51, those are the numbers that really matter more in that range. Maybe you get a 53.5. I think there's more likely this goes back the other direction, and it's already moved so much this direction that I can't really imagine how much further it can get. So I'm going to take the under. I'll rain on the parade. Hopefully we get like a fun 26-25 game down to the wire, and we still hit our under along the way. So Chiefs, Lions, under 53.
One question on the line. So if you think if it gets to like 54, 54.5, you can add more?
If it gets to 54.5, I will probably add more because that's really the last key number on the way up.
Okay.
I really have a hard time seeing it get there. But yeah, as you're listening to this, I don't mind if you want to wait and watch. If you wait and it gets to 52.5 or 52, I don't believe you've lost a whole lot there. But that should be your signal. Stop waiting and make the bet now. Don't let it get to 51. So I don't mind you waiting a little bit. It's kind of just stuck in that range right there where, again, who knows the way things go these days. You go for 2. Campbell, we know he's going to do weird stuff in there. So, of course, in a game with this many points and this much offense, you'll take every point you can get. But based on what we know about key numbers, less for totals, of course, but I think we're kind of in a range where it probably shouldn't matter a ton at this point.
Yeah, look ahead was 48.5, and that's obviously before the line even comes out, basically what you projected it before the week even starts. And you mentioned this before, but worth noting, since 2022, Mahomes has made 8 home starts with a total of 50+, 7-1 to the under by 7.8 points per game. So this one just feels like they're plastering a 50+ because of the two teams, and then they meet, and you find a lot of running. Detroit's pace should help your total as well. So I like it. All right.
You get a lot of both teams look over at the other sideline and are like, man, I don't want that offense getting back on the field. What if we just run like a 15-play drive right now and slowly chew up the clock? And you kind of get like both teams just saying, what if I just hope my guy has the ball last and we'll try to go get the score and a win. But if we can keep their offense off the field, we're going to be better off. And so I think you can kind of say, oh my gosh, these two offenses, how can I bet against them? But don't forget, they know each other also. So I think that's what I'm hoping for here.
Yeah, this feels like a Montgomery Hunt type game where I might look at them just battering ram, lots of clock. So at least that's what we hope for. All right, one more under before we get to our lightning round. You're looking at Arizona and Indy right now, where I think there's question marks about Kyler. So does that have anything to do with the bet?
It does, but I actually was looking at this one before. So give me the under 47.5. The Kyler injury might make this number drop a little bit. So obviously grab the best number you can. So both teams here started out surprise 2-0 teams. A lot has happened since then. The Cardinals are 0-3, but they've had all 5 one-score games so far. The Colts are still running it up, but they're running up the offense against the Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders. The Cardinals are not those teams. The Cardinals defense has been quite good this season. They add a lot of talent in the offseason. They're top 10 against the run and the pass. Colts defense has also been a lot improved this season. They bring in Lou Anarumo. That's been a huge swing for them. I don't know that they're top 5 overall, like their metrics say, but certainly they've been good. They're stout up front. And really, Kyler or not, the Cardinals offense, I think, is the weak link in this matchup. They have not been good this season. The offense we thought would be good. And you're hearing us finally a lot of talk about Clayton Adams, the guy that was the run coordinator in Arizona and now is in Dallas. And if you look at it, Dallas, who nobody had any thoughts about, Javonte Williams, all their linemen are hurt. They're the number 1 success rate rushing team. And the Cardinals, who had been that for a couple years, are dead last. That is what's happened in this offense. And of course, the running backs are hurt as well. It turns out they do matter a little bit if you lose all of them. So I think that the Cardinals, I think Colts 7.5, that feels rich. I'd put this closer to 4 or 5. And what's weird is I think those extra couple points that are missing there, I don't want to play Arizona. I don't really need an Arizona in my life, but I think they're being built into the total. And I think that's why the total is a couple of points too high to kind of match up with that Colts spread. So I looked at this matchup and thought, okay, what do? I don't really want Arizona. I kind of want to do like a Marvin Harrison Jr. prop, right? Like he's going to Indianapolis and there's been all the narrative this year, but I couldn't quite find one there. I don't mind looking. You find something fun. Cardinals this season, their games are averaging under 40 points a game. 39.8. They had one game at 49. The other 4 are below this number. And in an Arizona game, no team has gone above 27 points yet, either side in any Cardinals game. Kyler road unders have been a thing, 68%. So have Jonathan Gannon road unders. Obviously, those are pretty much the same stat, 67%. And Daniel Jones home unders, 70%, including, obviously, he's on a new team, but 2-1 so far this year to the under, even with the Colts offense doing so well. So you asked at the top, what about Kyler? Not practicing as we're recording. So what would that mean? Well, it would mean Jacoby Brissett, who's one of the better backups, but certainly a name that's going to make me think, that sounds like an under to me. So certainly I don't mind Kyler. 47 is a pretty important number for totals. So I certainly want 47.5 if I can get it. That was part of the pick here to stay above the key number. I would not be betting this below the 47. I kind of sort of weirdly might prefer Kyler to be marked in if it means the line goes back above that, if it's the weekend and you're looking to figure out, should I bet this now? So I want that hook above the 47 if you can. So keep an eye out on the Kyler news. I kind of think he's going to end up playing, but this is sort of a Cardinals fade either way. And spoiler, will not be our last Cardinals fade of the podcast.
I think the interesting thing about the line is this. The Kyler news is out there. If he plays, I don't know if the line will go back up because we're just going to assume he plays anyway. Like, it's not an injury where, like, people are assuming he's not going to play. So I don't know if you'll see the bump when he's announced active if he plays, if that makes any sense. So
Sure.
I think getting the 47.5 now is probably more important.
Right.
So I would definitely look for that number. You mentioned the Daniel Jones home unders at 26, 11, and 1. I think the most important thing with that is 2-1 with Indy. And in the 2 home unders with Indy, opponents scored 6 and 8 points. So in this scenario, you really are rooting probably against Arizona's defense. I mean, Arizona's offense a little bit in the bet itself. I'll give you this one, and this is through Bet Labs, but I looked up when 2 dome teams play each other, which I will call Arizona and any team in that scenario, 27 and 11 to the under last 2 seasons, which would be very contrarian to what you would think.
Yes.
Even 55% since 2020. So in that sense, I think the play is a little inflated. So I get what you're coming for, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be close.
Yes.
All right. Lightning round time. These are going to be 4 props and, because it's Brandon Anderson, some escalators along with it. So let's start with 2 Patriots. What are you doing in those games?
Yeah, Patriots at Saints. We're going on the passing game here, and I like both of these. So first one, Drake May. We just watched Sunday night, the Drake May unveiling. Give me Drake over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 105. So Patriots are one of the few things I actually got right last week. So let's go back to more Patriots this week. I thought May was awesome in that game. He actually didn't get a touchdown, but he's making plays off script. He's creative. He's keeping plays alive. That first play on the final drive when he's like getting sacked, keeps it alive, gets the stiff arm out, stays up to throw it away, and then instead hits Stephon Diggs for the big gain and kind of kicks off the field goal, the winning field goal drive. That was awesome. I thought he matched and played just as well as Josh Allen. And that's really been the story of the Patriots so far. That offense, the passing offense particularly, is what's surprising. And Stephon Diggs emerging as a true wide receiver 1, which we will get back to him in a second. So I looked at Patriots here. The Saints are 3.5-point underdogs. A lot of people are on the Saints this week. I feel like we're maybe overcorrecting a little bit. Spencer Rattler, I do think, has been fine, but the Saints defense has not been great. So I'm going to stay away from a side by saying if I want the Patriots, it's because I think they're going to pass. So let me just invest in the passing game directly. Saints defense, 4th worst in the league by DVOA and 4th worst against the pass. All 5 Saints games, they've allowed at least 2 passing touchdowns to the opposing quarterback. So I saw that and was like, done and done. Over 1.5, it's got to be like minus 160, right? No, it's basically even odds here. Drake May, 2 touchdowns in 3 of 5 games this season. So not a perfect hit right there like Saints opponents, but that's way up from last year, 4 of 11 in his game. So I think the touchdowns will be there. I'm not going to go escalator on Drake May. He's only had 1 game in his career with more than 2 passing touchdowns, just over 1.5, and we'll escalate with our second Patriots play in a second.
I like it. I mean, 2+ touchdowns allowed, 2+ passing touchdowns allowed, and 8 of 9 going back to last year for New Orleans. And thinking about what he did in Buffalo last week, and he didn't throw a passing touchdown, feels like it's a bit of a correction based off of what we saw. I also say this about New Orleans' defense. Last year, middle of the pack, 15th in red zone percentage on defense, 55%. This year, 70%, 27th. So something is awry in that defense, and it's allowing more touchdowns. And I think this might be minor, but no Gibson. You've taken a running back away. Maybe there's a little bit more passing on the other side. So what's your other prop in the game?
Yeah, so I mentioned Stephon Diggs. Let's take the Stephon Diggs escalator. I kind of bummed I didn't take the escalator last week with him. We mentioned him in the Patriots pick. You can't hit everything, but give me the receiving yards. Over 57.5 still at one book. A few others around 60. I'll take that if we need to. A lot of frustrated fantasy owners kind of wrote Diggs off. Slow start, right? Weeks 1 through 3, Diggs averages 4.3 catches, 37 yards, 5 targets. It's like, oh, he's washed, he's cooked, he's done. This was always the expectation with him. He tore his ACL. You don't just come back and be your old self. All the Twitter doctors, and some of whom are worth trusting out there if you follow the right ones, kind of predicted it'll be like a 4-week ramp up as you're kind of getting back to full speed for Diggs. All right, well, what happened in week 4? 6 catches, 101 yards. Then last week, 10 catches, 146 yards, 12 targets in that Bills game. So from weeks 1 to 3 to 4 and 5, double the targets, double the receptions, 3.3x on the yardage. Remember in week 1, Kayshon Boutte, 6 catches for 100 yards? That's forever ago. Like, Diggs is the dude in this offense. And again, Saints defense against the pass has not been good, particularly against wide receiver 1. This season, here's what they've allowed to wide receiver 1. 5 catches for 71, 5 for 89, 5 for 96, 5 for 69. All right, so 5 catches in all of them. Average 81 yards a game. No huge numbers in there, but certainly more than 57.5 by quite a bit. Last year, if you count games that I'm going to consider a team with the wide receiver 1, there's 13 of those games. Last year, the Saints allowed 6.6 catches for 92 yards a game on 10 targets to wide receiver 1. So Diggs, I think, is that dude. 57.5, I think, honestly, is like at least 10 yards too low. Since the start of last season, if you count games with the wide receiver 1, the Saints have allowed at least 5 catches and 61 yards in 16 of 17 of those games.
Wow.
So I think this is a great play here. And I want yards, not receptions. I think we'll get both. But Diggs had a 30-plus catch each the last 2 games. So we want the big play in there. We can hit this even with only like 3 catches with one big play. And then here's the escalator on Diggs, 80 yards and 100 yards. 80 yards is plus 229 at DraftKings. Last 2 years, Saints have allowed that in 65% of their games against wide receiver 1, almost 2 of 3. And then 100 yards, none yet against the Saints, but Diggs has done that 2 weeks in a row, and the Saints allowed 4 of those last year, 2 wide receiver 1s. 100 yards is plus 477 at DraftKings. So Diggs over 57.5, and then escalator all the way to 100, and hopefully has another huge game.
I mean, if you want to know how important Diggs has been to the offense the last 2 weeks, he has 12 first read / design targets, 7 more than any other Patriot at that time. So at this point, they are looking for him. And the thing that you have to love about those 2 big games and the stat I just gave you, still only running routes on 67% of dropbacks over the last 2 weeks. So there's even more upside, I think, as he progresses and gets healthier. So I like it. Anything else before we keep rolling?
Yeah, I was like, oh, let's see. I bet his snap counts are going up. He's healthy, so he's playing more. He's really not. Like, the snaps are still like half of them. So I agree. There's more room for him to play even more and get even more looks going ahead. So I think he's going to be very good. I think he's still a little bit underrated in fantasy. I see him ranked at like 30th to 40th rest of season out there. I'd be looking for ways to get him in a fantasy league or to invest if you got a season-long prop or something like that. I think Diggs is almost all the way back now.
Yeah, you mentioned the ramp up as well. I felt like, I don't have stats behind this, but I feel like the yak last week was also there. So he is not only catching, not only getting looks, but running after the catch, which is important for these props. All right, next bet here. We're looking at Raiders and Titans. Boy, this one better be fun.
Yeah, because the game sure as heck won't be. I honestly thought early in the week I was going to have to come in here with Titans +6 and was like, please don't make me do this.
Please don't.
The Raiders should not be 6 points favorites against anybody, even the Titans. Thankfully, the market got back ahead of me, and I'm sure people are betting the Titans as well for the same reason. It's like 3.5, 4.5 now. Forget it. But if the Raiders are favored, somebody's going to have to score for them. How about Ashton Genty? So give me an Ashton Genty touchdown. It's minus 143. The Titans' defense has not been good, of course. They're not good at anything, so why would they be good at defense? Bottom quarter of the league defense, second to worst by DVOA run defense, top 3 rushing yards allowed to running backs so far, and 8 rushing touchdowns, most in the NFL. Should be 9, of course, if Mr. DeMarcado could hold on to the ball at the goal line, but they have allowed at least 1 running back touchdown all 5 Titans games. They've allowed multiple running back touchdowns in 3 straight games right now. So I was like, okay, this looks like a good spot for Genty. Rushing yards, the line's 72.5. I can't get there. He's under that 4 to 5 games. That offensive line has not been great for the Raiders. Colton Miller is out. He is right now on pace for 280 carries. That's a lot. 1,200 yards. That's not great for that many. So I'm going to stay away from the yards. He's second favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't see that. That's not happening with how he's playing right now. But he is finding the end zone. Raiders have 8 offensive touchdowns. He's got 4 of them, 2 rushing and 2 receiving. I don't really care how he gets in. He can do the stupid Cardinals play from last week. Everyone can fumble and kick the ball in the end zone. Genty can fall on the ball and give me a touchdown. Either way, Genty touchdown, minus 143. And a little bit on 2 touchdowns as well. Kind of always play that if you're going to do 1 touchdown. That's plus 430. And again, the Titans have allowed 3 straight games a running back to get 2 touchdowns. So I think that's a smart escalator on that as well.
I was curious about the Titans' rush defense, which is absolutely horrible. And you mentioned the rush touchdown statistic on that side of the ball. I found this one, which was more interesting to me. Stacked box yards per attempt on the ground. So basically, when the defense really tries to stop the run. Tennessee this year allowing 6 yards per attempt, 3rd worst in the NFL when they stack the box. Last year, 3.3, 4th best in the NFL. So to me, even when they're trying to stop him, it ain't going to work. They're definitely going to try to because Mostert's not the guy. He's not getting a ton of carries in this offense. To me, it's Genty. He has all 5 carries inside the 10-yard line for the Raiders. This is, if they're going to score touchdowns, which they only scored 6 points last week. So the bet is, will they score a touchdown? It's going to be Ashton Genty. So I like it. All right, one more prop here. What do you got?
One more touchdown. We've been talking about Tet McMillan, a rookie receiver for the Panthers. So let's get a Tet McMillan touchdown, plus 150 against the Cowboys. I thought for a second straight week, I would try to talk myself into a short road favorite Cowboys team. I think they're going to score, but I think the Panthers might score too. This total is 49.5. I think this could be in the running for top scoring game of the week if you like to play that angle out there. But I think both teams are going to be scoring. Both teams will be passing at will here. I think we might finally get that long-awaited Tet McMillan breakout game. Cowboys defense, I don't even need to give you any of the numbers. Like, they cannot stop a nosebleed this season. It's all terrible. Passing defenses had no shot. Here are our wide receiver 1 numbers against Dallas just this year. Malik Neighbors, we remember that game, 9 for 167, 2 scores. Adunze, 62 yards and a score. Romeo Doubs, 6 for 58, 3 touchdowns. We all watched that one. Then Garrett Wilson last week, they didn't even like to pass, 71 yards and a score. So all 4 of those dudes had a touchdown. Neighbors scored twice. Dobbs scored 3 times. Last year, over half of the games that the Cowboys played had a wide receiver 1 touchdown. This year, 4 out of 5. Everyone except the Eagles because they don't believe in passing anymore. So I think this is a touchdown game for McMillan. I looked at the receptions and the yards. Early in the week, those lines were better. I think others are also looking at McMillan, so those have been bet up this week. I'm just going to stick with a touchdown. Plus 150 for a touchdown. In what should be a shootout, we might get like 8-10 touchdowns in this game if this really goes well. And then 2 touchdowns here as well. Plus 1,200 on the escalator. So I think you got to take a little bit nibble on that one. And the escalator I said on Sunday I wanted to find, this is the spot, I think, to buy that Rookie of the Year ticket. 13-1 at one book. Here's the setup. Agbuka's the clear favorite and probably going to have another good game this weekend. It's maybe just him. I went there with Omarion Hampton a couple weeks ago, loved it, and now he sprained his ankle and he's out, so his odds have dropped. Jackson Dart is 3rd in odds. Come on. They didn't even play the first couple weeks. The Giants are going to keep doing the thing all year. It's not happening. Genty is 2nd in odds. Like, if it's not Egbuka, this is still pretty open. And I think McMillan, honestly, has been as good, maybe better than Emeka. So I think 13-1, you want him before the Dallas game, not afterwards. So I think it's a now or never. And look, this might be like my 6th or 7th rookie of the year pick. So I think I probably have to be done after this. Stop me before I bet the market again. But I think he can be in play. And I'm reminded a couple weeks ago, we took the Puka escalator all the way up. And I looked at offensive player of the year and was like, man, if he has a huge game, wouldn't he be in there? And I didn't do it. And I didn't say it. And I don't get credit for it. And the next morning he was like the co-favorite. And that's where he sits now. So this is me mea culpaing for that. And if I got a guy in an awards market and I like a big game and a breakout, then I think it's the chance to buy into the market as well. So plus 150 on a touchdown, 12-1 for 2 scores, 13-1 for rookie of the year on Tet McMillan.
Some of the simplest correlation when you talk about touchdowns and points is you look at the over-under. You talked about it, 49.5 for this one, which would be the highest total of Bryce Young's NFL career so far. So kind of tells you what we're expecting. And just for some perspective, believe Tet right now has a 3rd highest receiving yards prop of the week behind Puka and JSN, which just tells you what the matchup looks like against Dallas. And I found this one absolutely fascinating. So first 3 weeks of the season, Tet was running around on about 91% of routes, 31st in the NFL. 4th and 5th, week 4 and 5, up to 98.6, second in the NFL. This man is Bryce's number 1. 33 first read targets. Next closest is Renfro with 15. So this is the guy, and he's going to force it there whenever he can. So I like the bet, and the yards are too high. So I don't even think you can go down that route, which is why I gave you the perspective. All right, look ahead time. Week 7, you're looking at one game. We have the Eagles at 6.5 tonight because of the look ahead. See how that goes. What are you looking at week 7?
Yeah, I told you we'd come back to the Cardinals. Here we are, and we certainly are not taking the Cardinals. Give me the Packers minus 4.5 in Arizona. So pretty simple read here. Look at this weekend. The Packers are 2 touchdown favorites off the bye at home against Joe Flacco and the Bengals. Everyone expects the Packers to absolutely roll this week. And everyone will be like, oh yeah, of course, we forgot about the Packers. Micah Parsons, remember how they're great and Super Bowl favorite? That's what we're going to think about the Packers this weekend. The Cardinals, we talked about. They're touchdown underdogs in Indianapolis, so they're expected to lose. If this thing goes as expected, there's no way we're opening this at 4.5 on Sunday night. We're going to be at like 6, maybe pushing 7 immediately. And remember, 7's a key number, but 5 and 6 are kind of keys now as well. We're getting 4.5 here below all 3 of those. I make this 7. I think these are just different weight classes, and I make the 7 with Kyler Murray. Do we even get Kyler Murray in this game? Maybe he plays against Indy, but re-injures the ankle and then he's out. Maybe it's worse than we think and he's just out until then. So we might get Jacoby Brissett here as well. We talked about the Arizona Arizona offense not being good. May introduce you to Micah Parsons and the Packers defense that has played so well this season. So I just can't see a world where we are getting Packers minus 4.5 Sunday night, barring some catastrophic injuries. So we've had some bad luck on injuries on the look ahead, but I'm going to take the 4.5 in Green Bay and not look back here.
I just am not going to sit here and try to argue with someone trying to take a look ahead line off of a game where you're a 14-point favorite. Feels like it makes sense and it's the right move in the right direction because if it goes the direction everyone thinks, next week's line's got to be bigger. All right. Thank you, Brandon. That was great. Anything else before we get out of here?
I think that's it. Let's watch some football.
All right. That'll do it here on the Action Network podcast for our NFL Week 6 Best Bets episode presented by DraftKings. If you want instant notifications when action experts track their bets, go to actionnetwork.com/pro. Use the promo code POD20 for $20 off a year of Action Pro. And if you're on Twitter, we have a great new feature. If you see a bet from any of our favorite action experts or anyone on gambling Twitter, you can now tag @Playbook and tell your bot to build you a bet slip at a book of your choice. It will build it out for you with a quick slip link that opens up right to your sportsbook. So check it out @Playbook on Twitter. And again, if you want to tell some of the bets we gave out today, make sure to look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description or go to actionnetwork.com/bet now. We will be back Sunday night for our NFL recap show. That'll be live on Action Network's YouTube page shortly after Chiefs and Lions on Sunday Night Football. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the slate. Good luck with all your bets this weekend. Let's cash some tickets.